Hello everybody, it's Lauren here.
It's Coach Kyle, long time no see.
Yeah, and we are the coaches at TeamCosmicBodies, and what we're going to be talking about today is just about having a good starting position. And I see a lot of people kind of just rush to the bodybuilding stage when it's important to have stages in getting there sometimes, because it's a big process to get to the stage, especially if you want to show up there looking the part. Because you can get up to the stage just to do it, just to get that experience. But if you really want to bring that elite conditioning to the stage, there is some things that we're going to go over today for you're able to have that standard for yourself in that conditioning. And the main thing is definitely having a very good starting position. Don't you agree?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's one of those things that it's not one size fits all. So everything we're about to say, you don't have to take to heart and be like, oh, that's... But I think it might be helpful if we do kind of an example where, let's say you come to us and you say, hey, I've never done a show before. I want to do a show. Let's do a show. It's in 20 weeks or it's in 16 weeks or whatever, right? It could be in 6 months from now. Who knows? And the thing is, a lot of times, I guess in this example that we're going to bring up is, let's say you have 40, 60 pounds to lose, but you only think you need to lose 20, 30 pounds, right? Like when we're talking about elite level conditioning, you want to look how lean Lauren got, or you want to, right? You're looking at these people on Instagram or social media and you see how lean they are and how great they look. And you're not even looking at that necessarily. You're just looking at how great they look, right? And you don't really understand how much body fat you're carrying in your lower back or like in your legs. So you might have to lose a lot more weight and body fat, or you might be less muscular than you think, depending on your training age and your experience there. So a lot of times it's just, there's a big, and that happens to everybody when they first start. They don't realize how much muscle they don't have compared to the people they see, or how lean they need to get. And so in this example, it's what's in this example? They need to lose 40, 60 pounds and they say, hey, I want to do this show in 6 months. And it's possible you can lose 40 pounds in 6 months or 9 months or whatever, but you might not look as good as you think at the end, or
you might not feel as great getting there, because say if you have this certain deadline where you really want to hit the stage in 20 weeks, but you have 40-ish pounds to lose. I mean, that is a grind.
It's 2 pounds a week.
You're losing 2 pounds a week.
Average.
So maybe you're not able to incorporate as many diet breaks just because you are on this time frame, or maybe refeeds are way too less often for you. And me coaching a first-time competitor, I don't want to have this person, rush to the stage, have to just be so aggressive when in the end it could actually mess up the person in the long run. Maybe they have an unhealthy relationship with food at the end of contest prep, or maybe they gain it all back after contest prep just because it was so aggressive.
Yeah, that's the main point is, if you have more than, right, you don't have just 20 pounds to lose for elite level conditioning. You have 40, 60 pounds to lose in the next 6 to 9 months. It's going to have to be aggressive. You might not look as good as you think at the end, right? You might not have as much muscle as you think. You might have been like, wow, I had to get way leaner than I thought. My scale weight had to go really low. And then because it was so restrictive and because it was so aggressive, you don't have the experience from different stages of fat loss phases and gaining phases and recomp. You just don't have much experience under your belt within these habits. That it's hard on your body mentally and physically. So there are times where maybe you shouldn't prep. Maybe you how are you going to handle it post show? Are you going to gain back a lot of it back? So something we've been talking about with some of our more mature people that come to us is, hey, it is possible. You can do something really aggressive, but these are some concerns within.
And we tell them, these are our concerns.
That it's going to be aggressive. You're not going to look as good as you think at the very end because you probably don't have as much muscle or you're not as lean as you think. Compared to, and here's the next example is, hey, maybe instead of the next 6 to 9 months, it's a 3-year process. Like she said, if you just want the experience and you're okay with not having elite level conditioning, that's cool. You can do that. We're not like saying you have to do a 2-3 year thing, but if you could break it up into stages where, let's say you have 40, 60 pounds to lose, let's say you lose 20, 25 pounds. It doesn't have to be as aggressive. You're able to probably keep it off a lot better, right? You're gonna lose a good amount of body fat. It's not super restrictive and aggressive. You keep it off. You do a gaining phase. You gain some muscle. Then you do another fat loss phase. Lose another 10, 15 pounds. Keep it off, right? And then you finally are ready for a prep in 2 years.
And you have a really good starting position. And maybe you only have to lose 15 or 20, maybe even 20 pounds. But you're able to have a longer contest prep and incorporate these diet breaks and these refeeds, and then after your show is over, you're actually going to be happier.
Well, you're going to look better at the show.
You're going to look better at the show.
Because you broke it up into 2-3 years of losing body fat, gaining muscle, this whole recomposition. And then so you actually do have a better finished product at the end. And then it's not as aggressive where you have these experiences and habits and it's less restrictive. So at the end, you're able to kind of like, after the show, because it's hard mentally and physically, you're like able to kind of keep a lot of it off and probably, gain some back initially, but it's easier and you're not going to necessarily have this crazy binge after, or there's less of a concern with that.
Because at the end of the day, guys, like this bodybuilding, it's very extreme. Women getting to the stage, they're very lean, and when I have a competitor come to me really wanting to compete in 20 weeks and I look at them and I'm like, you definitely have 40-ish pounds to lose. By the way, sorry to interrupt, but by the way, when we say you have 40, 60 pounds to lose, you're still a lean person. Like in life, you're still healthy. Yeah.
You're not like necessarily overweight. It's getting so competitive these days.
Very.
People have elite level conditioning, even in the amateurs. And you just have these expectations that when you come to us, you're like, I want to look like whoever. And it's just like, okay, well, they've been working out for 10, 15 years, maybe even using PEDs, and they probably played sports their whole life.
And I am all about the longevity within the whole thing, because yes, maybe you want to get to the stage and get there in 20 weeks, but then what's going to happen after that? Are you going to rebound and in 2 weeks you're back to where you began? Because I see that happen all of the time just because of how aggressive some coaches are out there with these people, and we're all about,
well, a lot of times you just want to see if you enjoy the show and the prep, right? In the process. Hear about this. A lot of times people just want to lose and look great and feel healthy, right? They just want to lose 20, 30 pounds or 20 pounds and keep it off and have really nice balance and health and longevity. And it's like, and they pick a show because they want that goal, right? They say, oh, I want to do a show.
That's a fine goal.
No, but they actually might not even want that. They just want to look better and feel better, but they feel like they need a goal, a show, to help them push, which there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times it's like, okay, well, we're going to have you lose 40 pounds, and in the end, it might be better for you just to lose 20 pounds and keep it off. And then decide if you want to do the show after you've gone through a couple processes of, stages of fat loss phases and then maintenance or gaining phases, and then you've learned different habits for this compared to just like doing a 9-month prep, and then after you're like so over it, is so aggressive, so restricted that you're just like, bye, I'm not talking to you anymore. And we're like, hey, there's more habits and different stages to this. Maintaining, slight surplus, like there's just different habits. And when I talk about habits, I'm talking about food selection and what kind of meals you're going to eat, portion sizes, and cardio versus not cardio and step count and just like looking at yourself in the mirror a lot. There's just habits you start to create, kind of anorexia or body dysmorphia habits, that we can help you kind of work through and break it up into stages and help you kind of like understand it. And then you can just, you know, gain this experience. It's kind of hard to explain, but you gain this experience and this knowledge where you're just more okay. You know, I don't know how to explain that, but
yeah, it's true, and it does get easier over time as well, going through cuts and building. I mean, sometimes I'm coaching somebody that this is their first ever time cutting, and they want to cut for a competition. So it's the more times, like just my example, like the more time I go into a prep and I cut, it gets easier, it gets easier dieting for a show, or if I'm doing a cut, a mini cut or something, it gets easier, plus how I react after. And I think the biggest thing for myself is just because of my starting position and always being, you know, fairly lean,
and
like on the
mistakes.
leaner side of...
Yeah, we've made mistakes. Like our first preps and post shows, we didn't do it perfect. And maybe we still mess up even now.
He gained 40 pounds post show.
Well, not, yeah.
But look at him this time around.
Yeah.
He is looking the best he's ever looked for his post show. And you know, same with me. My first season as a athlete, as a competitor, wasn't good. It wasn't. Even after I won my pro card that season, that in off season, I could have done better. But so, and that as well. But we just wanted to make this video because I think it's something that a lot of people don't talk about, is the starting position. And then
or maybe you shouldn't prep.
And maybe you shouldn't prep.
Maybe you should break it up.
And take your time and go through this in some stages, because I know we all want to hit the stage and rush there, but you have to think about the long term of like your relationship with food and your body and yourself and your mind and the mental side of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, it can work. I mean, I've seen people recomp and lose 40, 60 pounds in 9 months and do pretty decent after.
Post-show, yeah.
They only gain back 10 or 15 and they're...
How strong are you mentally?
Yeah, that's just a concern for us that we've gained through our experience of coaching. Like, hey, this happens a lot, so it might be better for you to do it in the next 2 years instead of the next 9 months. And time flies, but in the end, it just works out better than doing like the whole yo-yo and then it's been 5 years and you finally got it down instead of just like
if you have a 40-pound prep to lose to the stage, like Kyle said, maybe you lose 20 pounds, you keep it off for a while, you maintain, you go into a building phase, you hang out there for a little bit, and then you do the next 20 pounds, but then that prep is going to be so much better, like in all areas, your mind, your body, your willpower.
Might not have to do as much cardio and as much as low of food, and
instead of just So we just really want to make this video and share this with our thoughts and stuff.
Yeah, so maybe we'll title it like breaking it up into stages, or maybe why you shouldn't prep, or like you said, starting position, and just yeah, it is what it is. So, I mean, hopefully that's helpful, and it's just, yeah, I think we've said everything.
Yeah, comment down below, and if you want us to answer any other questions out there, feel free to comment in the comment section. But, okay, all right, thank you for watching. Bye.